digo. Okay, hatiri udutari gitomi. Enegene reagere que tu ikare boro agare. E tu ikare kojeta.
Okay,
Oideka maithori
we
eiteke.
are live. Welcome, everyone, from every corner of the earth. It's such an honor to welcome you here to the Vision Train. We are kicking off Dissolve and Bloom today, hosted by the Design Science Studio in partnership with the Vision Train, Catalyst, the Buckminster Fuller Institute, Heb Ritual, and surrounded by our peers, our kin, and you. Today is our fourth edition of Dissolve and Bloom. We are in the middle of the design science decade. Design Science Studio, an educational and cultural incubator and community of practice created to uplift designers, artists, cultural producers to propel the design science revolution and create a more just and equitable world for all of life, has retooled the original design science decade that Buckminster Fuller originally created in the 1960s to 1970s. It was really this call to say, we, in a decade, how much good can we do? We have made all the right tools for all the wrong reasons, and we need to move from weaponry to livingry. And here we are in the middle of the 2020s, revitalizing this in a time that this is more urgent than ever. Have you heard? Everything is changing, and there's no turning back. As we dive deep, the idea of separation from nature evaporates. Nothing is destroyed, just transformed. So we invite you to allow yourself to dissolve and bloom like the mycelial interconnected network sporing out of the process of permanent transformation. Metamorphosis has commenced, and as our friend Buckminster Fuller once said, there is nothing in the caterpillar that tells you it's going to be a butterfly. Thank you to everyone who is joining live here in the Vision Train or out in any of the streams that are currently going. It is an honor to come together to dive into the hearts and minds of artists, designers, systems thinkers, organizations, partners, visionaries from across the world. Every single one of the people who have gathered here today, including you in your own ways, are devoted to helping create this world that we know is possible, which comes to life through dissolving our illusion of separation and recognizing our innate interbeing and interdependence with all of life. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting one another. Thank you for all that you do to show up to create this world that works for all. This cycle of the Design Science Studio is in almost the halfway point. We are in cohort 4 of the Design Science Studio, and there are 88 creators in this cohort. We call the cohorts cohorts. And this group represents 20 different countries. And there are another 376 creators who have been a part of the Design Science Studio who have launched 290 projects. And so this group of 88, alongside our Evolutionaries, which folks who have been alumni, which includes Amanda Sage, Choo Choo, is a part of cohort 1 of the Design Science Studio and a partner ever since. There is this pulse that we continue to tend to, and we are not alone in this movement. We are all together. And so I'm excited because one of our partners and our friends who has created the platform that all of you are hosted on today is in the room. And so I'm going to see if we might be able to have Vincent just for a moment before we go into our opening ceremony share a little bit about Catalyst. And I think I can bring you up. Hi, Vincent.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Roxy. So I'll do a little brief share just for anyone who's new and help you guys get oriented to the agenda for today. So let's see. Okay, so for everyone who is here, you probably grabbed a ticket through Catalyst. And so once you are in the event dashboard, you can go to sessions, and this is our agenda of all the different sessions with all the speakers that are going to be presenting. And clicking on any of these sessions will also let you see the presenters. So if you want to go and explore one of the sessions and then see their work and then see information on how to contact them or their projects, and then you can explore also presenters more deeply in the presenters tab as well. And there will be a certain part in the agenda where things will diverge and you'll be able to choose your own adventure. And so I think Roxy shared this link. I'll also put in the chat, which kind of has the full agenda view. And here you'll see that there's some different colored events and sessions. And so these are actually in different Zoom rooms with different links. And so if you click on these, once that event gets started, there'll be a join session in progress button, or you can actually click right here. This Zoom link will take you there. Or you can go to the track. So this session by Mark is going to be in the beaming regeneration track. And if you go there, then it'll also open up the Zoom link. And so you can click it open, or you can click the URL here to go jump into that Zoom room. So yeah, once you get to that point in the adventure, you'll also on any of the other pages have a button to be able to join the session from here as well. Yeah, and then
Could you share just a few words about Catalyst itself?
Sure. So like many of the projects here, Catalyst is also kind of in the midst of a big metamorphosis. We're getting ready to launch a new version. But basically, Catalyst is a platform for impact networks to be able to organize their knowledge. And what we've been focused on is really helping organizations like the Design Science Studio build their knowledge ecosystem in a way that it's very interconnected. And so we have this global network of around 20,000 public data sets that have been contributed by all the different communities. There's different spaces. So we have a space for every Design Science Studio event, and the information can be shared across those different spaces. And then everyone who has purchased a ticket has a personal account. And so that's your library where you can save things from all the different events and communities that you're a part of and organize them there. And so yeah, our mission has really been to help people build on top of the work of others. So instead of starting from scratch, we can build on top of the work that other organizations or other people or our past selves have done. And so, yeah, our mission is really to help organizations and impact networks working on things like climate change, instead of having all the data that they've created be in some corner of a Google Drive, be able to offer that up so other organizations can use it as a starting point for their work.
And it's been, yeah, just so incredible. There's lots of fingers sparkling across the Zoom room. It's been something that, excuse me, I'm not sure how we would have done without Catalyst, to really have the dynamic events and knowledge navigation that we've had at this scale. It has met all of our dreams and more. And I just want to thank you so much for all that you continue to develop for this community as a part of it. Vincent was a part of cohort 2 of the Design Science Studio. And this won't be the last time you see him, maybe today, but in general, we're so grateful for you and for Catalyst. And thank you for helping us to get everyone oriented and for popping in with us today and for creating this beautiful platform for us to be able to share and learn together.
Thank you, Roxy. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of the event.
Thank you, Vincent. Beautiful. I'm going to take a pause and drink some water. Feel free to unmute yourselves and share your love with Vincent.
Thank you, Vincent.
Brilliant work, Vincent. Thanks.
Gratitude. Gratitude.
Thank you,
Amazing.
Vincent.
Hooray, Vincent.
Yes. Wonderful. Well, now I get to bring up one of my dearest, dearest beloveds, the Empress Evoke, Dr. Diane Regisford. Welcome, welcome to Dissolve and Bloom. So happy to see you here. Thank you for being a part of this opening ceremony. And now we get to begin it. How are you doing, love?
So fabulous and deeply, deeply grateful to be voyaging with so many questing souls. Welcome on this journey, and it's really a privilege and a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
It's such a privilege for us to have you and get to be on this journey together. We have been friends and journeying now for, I think, almost 5 years. Dr. Diane Regisford, the Empress of Oak, for everyone to know, joined the Design Site Studio in Cohort 2 and continued to weave with us with an incredible artivist collective called the Evoke Artivist Collective, bringing incredible artists from across the African diaspora to really support our equity work in the world. And I just want to share a little bit more about your background because you are a dynamic social sculpture practitioner invested in regenerative artivism for belonging, advocacy, and placemaking for African heritage diaspora communities, which we have literally lived with you. And you work into the unknown using the imagination for cultural transformation and ultimately evoking and practicing belonging. And so thank you for welcoming everyone with your poetry, with your presence. I love you so much. The floor is yours.
Love is returned. Thank you. I will start with an offering to our ancestors, to those who are journeying with us on this earth plane in this moment, and to our descendants. For all those in whose footprints I find my own, this be an offering.
Oh, here's your friends.
Is everything okay? Is it lagging, Roxy? Because it seems like it's lagging on my side.
No, you sounded
Okay.
wonderful. Some
Okay.
friends entered the room, so I
Ah,
apologize for the interruption to the offering.
all right. So for all those in whose footprints I find my own, this be an offering. For all those who will search for their footprints in my own, this be a devoted calling. And for all those who in this moment shape footprints of sovereignty, this be an expression of poetic solidarity. Ashe. My voice, she be cloak, is my next offering. This, my voice, she be cloaking soul. This, my voice, she be effervescent. Timely expression, this, my essence be cloaking voice. She be unmasked, she be fleshly voice considered, spirit rivered. Riveted, she be inflow, she be incandescent, she the filaments threading, sentient, sentiments, illuminating soul. Elemental, she be masked and unmasked. This my voice, she be heard. Oh yes, she be heard. A quotidian utterance entrances me. Fragranced words entice, and this, she, my voice, she be naked, stripped bare, naked, raw, unleashed, and so powerful, that beast. She comes naked, soul to soul, awakened, inflamed. This my voice unfolds to an ocean drum. Rolling vascular heat, she unfurls, resonant staccato beats. Shattered fragments, cocooned under, gone. This my voice be a rolling, free spirit, cloaked no more. I say she be unleashed. She comes naked, soul to soul. She comes naked, soul to soul. Thank you. I will close with a poem called Foibles. Thank you for the love. Can I truly offer me, less expecting secret wounds be seen, revealed, exposing inner prima materia, sinewed channels to deep, deep ancestral soul chambers. I tread tenderly, newborn, naked, holding sweet sensory, a celestial reverie, tenderly crafted under moonlit shards. Magically traced through dream flight. These be gilded offerings to encounter beloved as enlivened being. Vitally invested deep within, be akin to feeling like dancing over hot coal, soon jumping river deep in your gifting. Oh, for foibles, let me tell you now, them no worry me, my foibles, them no worry me, them be stitched creeds honoring fidelity to life's tapestry. For less such topology, I be thirsting, I be wanting the emotion, red hot emotion as relief. For these foibles, they strengthen our footholds on these earth walks to eternity. Foibles make us human. For these foibles, they make for sweet meanders through love's poppy fields to a veritable embrace. I invite you, I invite me, I invite we to, oh yes, say we truly believe that we can truly, I can truly offer all of me. Ashe. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. I just want to invite everyone to feel free to share your voices and gratitude reflections.
Ashe.
Amazing, amazing.
Amazing.
Ashe. Ashe. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you for inviting all of us, our ancestors, our dance, our foibles, our fire, our vision, all of it's needed.
Sure.
Oh, such an honor to weep with you always. Thank you so much. Would you be willing to share a little bit about what is stirring in your world?
What is stirring in my world is spaces where we can connect. I serve through my work the African and Caribbean diaspora. And what I know deep down in my soul is that in this work that explores our indigenous diaspora knowledge systems, that the healing required for the decolonizing, for the coming to really truly address, perhaps redress our engagement and our relationship to power and sovereignty will also require decolonizing economies, economics, recognizing the value of our indigenous diaspora knowledge systems. It's unique. It's a unique experience, and the more of us that can come together to evoke, the more I believe those voices that I spoke to will be less cloaked. Those communities that are less seen will be more visible and more actively participating in the systems and the processes that govern their lives. And so the institutionalization, and I say that with huge inverted commas because for me, it's about a living practice is where we are headed next. We are setting up bases in Ghana, in Oxford, and in the Caribbean, Oxford, here in the UK, where I'm based. And what we're doing is we're retracing the Black Atlantic Triangle, you know. Yes, we were kingdoms and everything else before enslavement. This is an invitation to now gather in the space to research as community, to influence policy, and to print and publish our narratives, which are less centered in mainstream discourse. That's what's stirring in my soul right now. So I invite anybody who's in, and Vincent, definitely, I want to speak to you. You're talking, and I'm thinking, oh, yes, I need a system like Catalyst. So most definitely, that's what's stirring my soul. Thank you so much for the question.
I am always inspired about how this work that you're devoted to continues to evolve into new communities. You have been in office, you have been in the practice as an artist. You have no space that you are a stranger to or will remain one for long if you are. And that's what's needed to really uplift and center your voice and voices like yours that are so vital. And so I'm so grateful that you continue to do this work and that you're opening centers, and
That's where we are.
so incredible. I'll make sure to put all the links in the chat also that we have for you, and continue to support and uplift all that you are and all that you do. Thank you so much for being a part of this invocation, this opening, and also just like calling into our collective awareness, so the upliftment of those who have been systemically oppressed and marginalized. And that represents a large number of the folks who are also in this community and in service too. So I just thank you, thank you, thank you. Bless you.
Continued fabulosity, high frequency vibrations. May we all open ourselves to dissolve and bloom. Thank you. Ashe.
Ashe. Bless you, sister, and welcome, Arturo. You will love each other. Someday you will meet. The two of you and the three of us kind of are holding this anchor of the opening. And so I lovingly pass the torch between the Empress and Arturo and welcome you, Arturo, to the salon to support us in the cosmic directions and a musical invocation. And for those of you who don't know Arturo, he's a cultural producer and will be sharing emergent wisdom from the fields of art creation, organizing, advocacy, and performance through music and spoken word. And it's just been such a joy to get to know you and to find another member of my long lost family to weave within this world. The work that you're doing with the Arts Collab, thank you for putting in the chat, is so kindred to the work that we're doing here in the Design Science Studio. So welcome and thank you for being a part of our opening.
Thank you, Roxy, and thank you everybody for being here. It's lovely to connect with this community. I am starting to become familiar with some of the people here, and it really is nice to always be reminded that everywhere in the world there's people, doing their work, doing their part on basically creating more equitable conditions for life on this earth, for people, for communities, but also for animals, for plants, for ecosystems, for all walks of life, but life at the end of the day. So it is my pleasure to be here, particularly at a time where, the equinox is really, really important in the cosmovision philosophy that I have been studying, the cosmovision of the Totonac people, grandparents of the Aztec and Mayan people. Equinoxes and solstices are very important markers of the energy, of the personal energy, as well as a relationship to land and nature, water, rain, when to grow our food, when to, harvest, all of these things, and particularly the equinoxes, because they mark a period of time where the sun and the moon, the daylight and the nighttime are aligned. We take this time to make an invocation that is called the cosmic directions. And during this invocation, which is traditional knowledge, we have a prayer. We say a prayer for personal balance, for the balance of the energies in our lives. So the way that we do this is I am going to be whistling my whistle, special whistle, and we're going to be invocating the different directions. If you are able to do this, I invite you to turn around and look at the directions. We're gonna go west, east, north, south. So west, east, north, south. Wherever you are, you can just turn around and face those directions. And we're just gonna take a couple of minutes with this. I invite you to sit in your chair, straighten your back, stretch your back, your neck, your shoulders, your arms. Take a couple of deep breaths, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Inviting you to bring your right hand to your chest, your left hand to the pit of your stomach. For just a second, inviting you to close your eyes gently. And with our eyes closed, we're going to look up. It doesn't mean that we're going to move our neck upwards. It just means that we're going to move our eyes as high up as you can without hurting yourself. Tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth, and we're going to deeply inhale and hold and exhale. And one more time, inhale and hold and exhale. The last time that we exhale, I invite you to make a sigh of relief and to release all the tension that might be in your body. So eyes closed, looking up deeply, inhale and hold and exhale. There you go, there you go. I invite you to bring the focus. You can normalize your breath now. I invite you to bring your focus to the feeling of your body on the chair, the feeling of your hands on your chest, on your body, and in your own time, I invite you to blink your eyes open. Very good. And now, inviting us to turn left, and look out to the west. If you need a moment to find your west, your north, your south, you can take that time. To the energy of the west, we offer this caracol and whistle. To the energy of the west, the energy of the sundown, the energy of water, the sacred energy of feminine, the energy of water that takes the shape of the recipient that contains it. And it's also the cosmic direction that represents the power and the energy of love. Unconditional love, care, nourishing. The abuelos, the abuelas would honor the goddess Mayahuel, the goddess of maguey. This cactus plant where you can use the meat of this cactus to eat. You can use the leaves of this cactus to make your roof. You can also use the leaves of this cactus. You can turn it into fibers and make your clothes out of it. Finally, from the heart of this cactus, you can extract pulque, which you can drink and be nutritious for you. You can even make mezcal and tequila out of this juice. The goddess Mayahuel is the goddess of abundance. And in a world that has been riddled with the narrative of scarcity, we are reminded that there is abundance and that Mother Nature has abundance for us to take care of us and to take care of all of life. What is your relationship today to the energy of the feminine? Are you caretaking for it? Are you centering life in your everyday doings? To the energy of the West, we offer this whistle and this caracol. Now, from wherever you are, I invite you to continue turning left, 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 left. All the medicine always goes to the left until we're facing the east. This is the east. The east is the energy of the masculine. Is the energy of the rising sun, the energy of Quetzalcoatl. Is the energy of communication, the energy of visioning, visionary, sacred visions. Remember, when there is divine vision, there will be divine provision. But today, I really want to make this invocation and this invitation for us to just take a look at how is it that we are relating to masculine energy. For all the men identifying folks in this call, what is your relationship to your masculine? We live in a particular historic time where masculine energy is going through a sort of a crisis, a shift, I would say, that invites us to really analyze and question how is it that we are relating to these powers of protection, these powers of visioning, these powers of organizing and administering, and is it that we are centering life, centering women, centering children, centering, non-human life in our day-to-day relating to each other and to ourselves. To the energy of Quetzalcoatl and the masculine, the energy of the West, we offer this whistle and this caracol. I am going to invite us to continue going to the left. Remember, all the medicine always goes to the left, to the left, to the left, and we're gonna turn to the north. The north is the energy of all generations, the energy of the ancestors, the energy of Tezcatlipoca, the smoking mirror. The energy of the north is also the energy that invites us to honor the people that have passed and that have come before us, providing us with life, providing us with knowledge, providing us with all the love that we have required to be here today. But it is also the energy that invites us to question about our own ego. Since we are ancestors in the making, What is the legacy that you are building today, this day? What is your legacy? To the energy of the smoking mirror, the energy of the north, we offer this caracol and this whistle. Okay, we continue to go to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left, until we hit the energy of the south, the energy of the hummingbird, with Silopostli, the energy of fire and new generations. It is important to say that this is a ceremony that has been happening for thousands of years, and whenever we open up this space, we create a rip into the space and time continuum, and we connect to those who have been honoring this ceremony for thousands of years, but also those who will come after us for thousands of years in the future. And in this moment, in this time, we become the bridge between the past and the future. Here to all the future generations that need and deserve our love so badly, to the energy of the hummingbird, we offer this caracol and this whistle. And as we conclude this moment of calling in the cosmic directions, I invite us to bring again our right hand to our chest, our left hand to the pit of our stomach. The reason why we are doing this is because it is believed that in your stomach, in your belly button, this is the place where all of your life originated, all of your life came in through. And now it's your heart's job to stabilize that energy. So when we bring our hands together, we're really praying for all of these elemental forces to bring, to come, to concentrate, and to ground, to balance within ourselves. And with that, I'm going to play a quick little song. And I'm inviting my good friends Andreina and Jose, who are here, to comment. You can be here or you can be around. You know, you're gonna hear them anyway. This is Andreina and this is Jose Lobo. And we're gonna play a song called Roots. And basically, when the choir comes, I'm just gonna say it to you. You can sing it with us. Please sing as much as you can. The chorus goes: "You're the flower that blooms. You're the river that flows. You're the mountain that stands, and you're the tree that grows. You're the flower that blooms. You're the river that flows. You're the mountain that stands, and you're the tree that grows." Okay? Here we go. A little destroy you. Hey, little brother, don't worry, baby. I know it's strong, but you're strong enough. Cause you're the flower that blooms, you're the river that flows, you're the mountain that stands, you're the tree that grows. Cause you're the flower that blooms, you're the river that flows, you're the mountain that stands, you're the tree that grows, you're the flower that blooms, you're the river that flows, you're the mountain that stands, you're the tree that grows, you are the light, the multi-light. You are the light. You are the light. Coro. Cause you're the flower that blooms. You're the river that flows. You're the mountain that stands. You're the tree that grows. You're the flower that blooms. You're the river that flows. You're the mountain that stands. You're the tree that grows. Ooh, 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 Thank you so much. Thank you. That is part of the music that we do with my band, Intimistica. This is part of my band. And my project, the Arts Collab, I added so many links into the description. Please connect and let's stay in community. Gracias.
Oh, Choo, thank you.
You.
It's so good to be invited and to sing together. Right. and you know, to be reminded of the directions. To be reminded we're here on a space station, but we are on a planet. And we have the sun that rises and the sun that sets, no matter where we are, and it connects us. You know, in these seasons, we're in this time of where the light is the same in the night and the dark, right? It's all in balance. And so thank you so much for sharing your a piece of your, you know, reminding us of the culture and the seeds that we carry and that which connects us. It's nice to meet you, Arturo, and friends.
Gracias. Thank you. How we start is how we finish. So I love that we start with ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you for also coming to close this evening. Excited to have you back, holding the bookends of this container with us. Such an honor. Gracias, Arturo. Gracias, amigos. Thank you for sharing your voice. See you on the other side. Well, Amanda, my dearest sister and friend, Amanda Sage, everyone, if you don't know Amanda Sage, she is a pretty magnificent human. Amanda is the founder of the Vision Train, where we are all right now. And as I said, was a part of Design Science Studios Cohort 1 and is a part of this whole quest to co-create a world that works for all and build the imagination, vision, capacity through community and belonging. And she is an incredible painter and artist, driven by the desire to reveal art's critical role in regenerative culture. And she's passionate about creating artistic social experiments that explore solutionary activism. And we are here at the very beginning of the anniversary of the Vision Train, and I wanted to see if you would be willing to share a bit about this incredible moment, which also aligns with the original very first Regenera Rising Summit anniversary. Pretty epic.
So much alignment. And, you know, when we fall off the tracks, we can find our way back on them. And I see the train as this incredible vessel and meme that can reconnect us. It was one of the things that also tore up a lot of land, tore up culture, erased a lot of things, a lot of stories, forced us into a great forgetting. And I think what we're about now is taking those tracks back, going back on the tracks and remembering that we are connected. And it's up to us to remember the songs and to come back together and to see each other and to say, you know, I see you, I hear you, and let's feast together. So thanks, Roxy. We've been on this ride together. We met for the first time in, thanks to Becca Dakini in Costa Rica at Envision Festival, just literally weeks before the whole pandemic thing happened. And Becca's like, I think you guys really need to know each other. And little did we know that within weeks and months, we would be starting these virtual space station community circles, because the Design Science Studio was not intended originally to be so like online, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was an in-person, but it was already incubating. You already knew that we were in this decade. I mean, Buckminster Fuller had pointed towards this. And so those of us that were, and I would say pretty much everyone here, my language is I see you on the train. We're in response to what is needed now, right? And that is the artists, the musicians, the poets, the visionaries are at the forefront. And they're here to remind us and also like write it out, sing it out, paint it out, and show us what is possible. And so that is the foundation of what I see the Vision Train is. This call on March 24th, 2020, I opened up this Zoom room. It happened to be 3:33 at where I am in the world when it opened, and I pressed record. I think I should press record. And with my friend in Australia, and we just opened, invited all our friends all over the world to come and join us and to come in this co-creative container, and that we would train each other in keeping the train on the tracks. And literally, I want to shout out to Alicia Sacred Heart, who picked up, you know, the engineer hat, and she said, okay, we're going to create the spreadsheet. And we made it a collaborative spreadsheet, and we made the time zones. We trip 1, 2, 3, and 4, so 6 hours each out of 24 hours, so we could communicate about time, because we were all over the world. And then we kept this Zoom call going for 8 months straight, 24/7, like a relay race, just passing the host to the next. And so much amazing, exchange happened here. And so here we are 6 years later. Thousands and thousands of creators have been here on this call. Some call this, is their living room. This is our co-creative space where we learn to create supportive, safe containers to share, to explore, and to be in training. So I know I could talk forever, and I just want to welcome you that this is 8 days, and I'm going to share with you a couple things I shared in the chat. Also a link to our schedule. It's free and open to anybody to get on there and to see in your time zone when everything is happening. If you want to RSVP and be reminded and link it with your calendar, you'll be prompted to create an account. But I'm going to show you a couple things real quick. So we launched a new website today. And this is by our dear friend Marina Zion Rebels in Brazil. She's on board right now, been working on this. And of course, it's all iterative, right? But the Vision Train is a global community of creatives weaving imagination and shared presence into a movement of transformation. And using one of the paintings here for connection, which is our 6th anniversary, is our friend Nico Letola from Finland, who is a part of the Design Science Studio this year. So there's so many connections. And you click through here, there's so much to explore here. This is a piece of a painting that Joe Bob and I painted, and there's the train riding this great wave of transformation back on the tracks. Here you can click the live schedule, and there's so much to explore here. All the conductors are 8-day event. So if you click here on this full schedule, it will take you here onto our mighty networks. And here you can see in your time zone, you're seeing it in mine and mountain time when everything's happening. But you can learn more about everything too by just clicking on this, and then you can click on the Zoom. We will have registration on after today, because that is the only way that we know who's been here and to be able to connect with you again, unless you make an account on our mighty networks. But as you can see, this is March 24th, then it goes in here we go into the 24th, and this is the day that the train actually started, the Zoom space station. And Samantha Sweetwater will be here today on the Design Science Studio, Dissolve and Bloom. She's also going to join us for a little conversation on the 24th. So we have so many weaving links, ecstatic dance with Jubilee, and trips from all over the world. So we call events trips. So check this out. And all of this has been independently. We have Alex and Allison Gray coming on the 27th in a critical mass art jam. This is 8 hours. I want 333 creators on here. So you are all invited. Please come back. And every single one of these trips too has been posted and coordinated by these conductors themselves. So this is all a training vessel, and it's a watering hole. And so I want to share with you also, for this critical mass art jam, we have here, you can add your name through Airtable to be on our roster, even if you can't participate in person or not. I would love for you all to join, because check it out. You get to see then who else is coming. And this is a really wonderful way to, we just launched this yesterday. So a wonderful way to see who will be there. And so also what is so exciting, let's see, we have so many projects, so you want to explore this. We have a new shop, which is a way for the Vision Train to also sustain and keep rolling. So check that out. And we are sponsored. I want to say thank you to our, where are our sponsors? So the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors has sponsored us, fiscally sponsored us, so we can receive tax-deductible donations, and just really appreciate everyone that has kept this train rolling. And it is because of the conductors, and you can find out more about them and the engineer crew through bouncing around in here. We're scattered all over the world, and would love to inspire you to come be a part of the train more. This is it's going into year 7. Where's it going to take us next? I'm really excited to see us get into the mapping of the stations. So we have our virtual stations here, and we have a long list that is just going to continue getting built out. This is just the beginning, but there are what are local Vision Train stations. They're places that embody the values and activities that are on the train. So, and I know most of you that are here you're already here. And so I'm sure you know also of some places that we should know about. And this is what I think Catalyst is doing. This is what Design Science is doing. And we are a part of so many networks that are linking, the lines, the tracks. So we're connecting in this time that is needed more than ever to be able to hold containers and create containers for those that are ready to step into the next iteration of creating a world that works for all. So thank you. Good to see you, Mariette.
Thank you. Good to see you, Amanda. Wow, choo choo. I mean, this train has been on these tracks for these 6 years and hearts align. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, it's just like this is the work, this is the joy of the work, and now look at this platform on Mighty Networks. It's just so inspiring. Thank you so much for having us on here, and everyone check it out because those stations are amazing. And yeah, I mean, this is the unfolding of a whole other level. So thank you. Yeah. Oof. Thanks everyone for being here today. I'm so happy to be with you at Dissolve and Bloom. And yeah, every time I'm here, right? Every time we are here, right, Jeet? It just keeps building. So we're gonna bring up Aileen to the table. Hi, Aileen. Welcome, everyone. Hi. So, everyone, just want to introduce you to Aileen, and we're going to be experiencing the emergence of Prismatic Center with Aileen Strickland McGee, designer, researcher, futurist, strategist, artist, and writer, imagining and designing futures where the well-being of people and planet thrive in balance.
Okay.
So, thanks so much for being here, and I can't wait to see what we're gonna see.
Great. Well, thanks everybody. I'm just going to start my timer. This is a very in the moment, in the process share. I'm still wearing my pajamas, and you see it's very raw on the whiteboards. But I'm just going to bring you through sort of what is emerging in sort of 4 sections. So I'm just going to jump into it. Prismatic Center is something that is emerging through me. It feels like it is me. I mean, it is. And so the first thing I'll just kind of briefly ground in is that it's an emergence of self. And so it's an inner systems emergence because we know that systems shifting is all interconnected, and inner is outer, outer is inner. And so this is something that is very, very much working through me in all of the different ways. And giving life to really trying to figure out this intersection of what brings me life, what the world needs, what am I good at, and how can I sustain a life around it? So starting with me. And so over the last year and a half, really wrestling with that in a real way to articulate it into this next expansion of self and the work that doing in the world. And so the way that I've articulated that own central sort of purpose, or whatever you want to call it, to myself is to help bring awareness to the interconnections, inner being imbalances of people and planet between altitudes. So all of the scales, so like the me, we, us world, through time, in service of intentional choice making and thoughtful action to create more just, regenerative futures where the well-being of people and planet thrive, which may make more sense as I sort of walk through this. And how I want to do this is create transformational experiences and expressions that help people imagine and create collective futures rooted in love. And so what you'll see is sort of what is emanating is from this center of self, and it is emerging as my brain works. So the process is extremely, it's building from all of these different people I've been and roles I've held and experiences I've had in order to sort of figure out like what is my role and how do I work towards these regenerative futures and how are they working through me. And so thinking again of everything as this unfurling spiral, through these roles of being a designer and studying space and place and the ways that we are attached and interconnected with it. Researching that, researching within the context of education and learning and sort of that becoming, writing about that. I work within the futurist, and some of those methodologies, strategists, sort of like organizing all of this information into sort of accessible and simplified wholes to show how do we start to move forward. So it really feels like this is a lot of parts of me sort of becoming and weaving into a more whole that I can feel. And so it's this process of expanding, contracting, expanding, contracting, expanding and contracting, and working at these levels where I'm trying to, what does this look like at a high level in these larger frames, and then having these sort of like ideas all of the time of how this could manifest and sort of jumping between these levels. And what I'm realizing and beginning to feel and see is that it is starting to paint this larger picture of how these things are coming together and in that sort of true emergence. And we'll continue to do that. And so what is emerging is last fall, I really started to name it. Like, what is I'm trying to create. So I'm not confined by the roles that I've had in work, but I'm really defining this more for myself. So the emergence is prismatic center, which is just by naming it, and there's layers of meaning to that name. And so as I've defined it, it's a creative systems impact studio helping imagine and build life-centered systems rooted in love, where the well-being of people and planet thrive in balance. And there's a lot to each one of those words, chosen very intentionally. And so how, again, doing this is thinking about it through expressions and experiences. So expressions are things that the ways in which the ideas and concepts are put out into the world, which for me is I have like research and insights, but this can take a whole lot of different forms, from small social media posts to creating zines to decks to books to articles, but all of these different ways that these ideas that I'm playing with others are coming out. And so and all these concepts are rooted in, again, what are life-centered systems, the qualities of functioning ecosystems, love, well-being at an individual and collective levels, the concepts that help bring those into being. So art, play, imagination, awareness, presence. And then the experiences are ways to engage other in these ideas and concepts. So to help shift thought and action. And this really builds on a lot of, I have like workshops as a very simple sort of way to talk about that. And so because workshops are so contextual to who's there and why they're there and what is the purpose of them, there's a whole range of threads, but the methods and tools used are like the awareness-based systems change. So futures foresight tools and methods, art-based, play-based methods, design thinking methods, sort of putting all of those together to create these experiences and in context of who it's for and what we're doing. And some of that is emergent from just, hey, I think this would be a cool experience. How do I start to, do that or when there's opportunity to build that in, which I'll speak to in just a second. And the foundation for this, again, is rooted in these regenerative frameworks. We talked about Theory U and the Presencing Institute, about these deep shifts coming from a place of awareness and presence. Futures work like Three Horizons, The Great Turning, like Joanna Macy, and a whole host of others that are being woven into this. And then kind of the meat of this is like, what is that journey? And so right now I just named it prismatic shift, but thinking about what are these futures that we want to create? How do we envision and imagine? And what are those experiences to help do that with others? And then as we think about, well, how do we bring that back into the now? And it's just shown linear. We know it's not a linear process. But how do we help people see the systems, feel the systems, so that they can understand what are those levers that can start to shift? How do they choose? What is that choice? Because better futures are all a choice. And the acting and looking across all of the scales of the system, from the micro to meso to macro. Sorry, my timer went off. And so some really like tangible examples of this are like last summer, I created a systems change for impact workshop that was for a corporate audience that sort of helped lead through this entire journey as a whole. And now I'm working to prototype that with another audience and trying to bring in a little bit more of those creative methods into some of this framework. Another example of how I'm prototyping this in a very tangible way is in my role at in my work. We're trying to center the well-being of planet and doing that through circularity. And so I created a imaginative circularity visioning, again within the context of a corporate. And now I'm iterating on that for different audiences, which is kind of, again, I'm looking for sensing and trying to seed these different opportunities to just continue to play with some of these ideas. And this is the frame that is really helping me fit that in, because I need that in order to move forward. And who this is for, I think this to me is where I struggle the most, because it's all dependent on who I can work with. And so when the opportunities arise, I think about, again, whether that's in a corporate space or for community spaces, or just interested in collaborative individuals of like, hey, what could we do here? So I know I have a timer, so I'm just going to move on here. And where this is right now is, as you can see, my brain works like this. You can feel that probably in my energy, is emerging this into the world. And this is a scary step for me. This is taking a lot, even just being here and sharing this. So where I am in this and sort of bringing this out into the world is I like writing everything down and that helps me get really clear about what it is what I'm giving life to, and helping others understand that. And so I'm getting closer and closer in writing that and creating narrative deck. I'm establishing a website. I know they put an Instagram for me in the chat, which has like one post on it, but that I'm sort of establishing these things that I know that I can grow into. And then just sharing it. And so beginning to share with and connect with a network, share this idea and hear the feedback. I'm starting to put it into bios that I write, which again feels very uncomfortable because I don't have it all figured out yet, which is part of my own journey to like trust the process. And then even again, this share and doing this without feeling like I had a lot of preparation and in this very raw form is quite honestly an uncomfortable spot for me, but I think it's a good uncomfortability and how an illustration of how this is emerging and just trusting that if I begin to put these ideas out here, even if they're in a messy form and a little bit chaotically spoken into, that something will connect and trust that. And so I'm learning that a lot more in this moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being courageous, Aileen. I just want to, I see hearts and there's so much vulnerability in this share. And I just want to say thank you because this is beautiful work. Yeah, your prismatic center shows, right? So thank you for taking us right into the heart of that emergence for you. And everybody, this is one of our amazing cohortists of cohort 4. Aileen is in the program right now. And just, again, thank you for being brave and for bringing this all to us. You got a lot of love in the chat and a lot of really appreciation for these beautiful schematics. And you may think they seem corporate, but they're beautiful to this group. We love geometry and symmetry and moving things forward. So thank you so much. Yeah. All right.
Yes.
Now you can connect with Aileen on LinkedIn. And now I'm going to bring in, and I put that in the chat, Govind, you are going to introduce us to someone now, aren't you?
Yes. Thank you, Eileen. Next up, we have Vahinia Muirikia. He's a Kenyan music composer, instrument library developer, cultural historian, and heritage innovator working at the intersection of sound, systems thinking, and African philosophy. Please join me in welcoming Vahinia.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. There's a video that I shared, and if we can cue that, that would be okay. And when it plays, I invite you to walk with me through this journey and reflect and immerse yourself. Thank you. You can now play it.
Wahinia, do you want me to have the volume all the way up?
You can adjust it. I think there's some parts which might get louder, but you can adjust it to the optimal listening volume. Yeah.
Will you be speaking over it?
No, I won't.
Perfect.
Everything
Okay.
is, yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, Wahinia. Here it goes.
Mila Africa isn't something I'm pitching. It's already happening, just not fully formed yet. What I'm sharing is the spatial layer of that work, where philosophy, tools, and practice can converge into something tangible. This is the actual site, not a render, not a concept. This is where I've been working from. It's small, but it's real. The intention isn't to imagine a future somewhere else. It is to build from here and let it grow into something structured. And right now it's modest. One working studio, open land, a lot of experimentation, no large infrastructure, no external backing, and which matters because this didn't start as an idea, it started as practice. There's no shortage of creative spaces, no shortage of innovation hubs, but most of them are designed to produce output, not to rethink the systems behind that output. And that's the gap. Not talent, not energy, but structure. And this is not a place for finished work. It's a place for things that are still unstable. Ideas get tested, pushed, and sometimes broken. And sometimes nothing immediate comes out. And that's fine, because that's where real shifts begin. The layout is intentional. Not separate buildings doing separate things, but a system that allows movement. You move from thinking to making to sharing and to reflecting. The space supports continuity and not fragmentation. And the architecture isn't just aesthetic, it shapes how people think and relate inside it. Material, light, airflow, these affect how long you stay, how you engage. So it needs to feel grounded, open, and breathable, and not imposed. Each space is being designed to do something specific. The studio will be where things are built. The gallery will be where they are exposed to people. The library will be where ideas slow down and deepen. Together, they're intended to loop, not separate functions, but one system. And most spaces push artists to finish something quickly. This one is being built to do the opposite, to create room for ideas to sit, shift, and even fail. Because without that space, people end up repeating what already works. And this won't be built all at once. It grows in stages. Each phase builds on what already exists. The focus is keeping the logic intact, so as it expands, it doesn't lose its foundation. To move into the next phase, this needs support. Not for events, not for programming, for the space itself. Because once the infrastructure is in place, the work can actually take root. A lot of funding goes into showing culture. Very little goes into building what produces it. So we keep seeing variation, not transformation. And this is an attempt to work at that deeper layer. The intention is that what comes out of this space won't just be artwork. It will be tools, frameworks, ways of thinking, things that can move beyond the site itself, so the space becomes a generator, not just a container. And this is still being built, but it's open. For people who understand what this is trying to do, there's room to come in early, not just to support it, but to shape it. It's early, but it's clear enough to act on. The intention is simple: to build a space where different ways of knowing aren't just discussed, but actually used. And if that resonates, then there's conversation to be had.
Thank you, Vainia. Is that wow? That was
I think we're still going, Govind.
oh. Stunning. Thank you, Vainia. That was fantastically inspiring. A space for systems, a space for sound. I can almost envision all that you've been thinking about, and I think we definitely need a space like that for the ancestral sound and what is amiss in the general sound that we see, right? And that sort of exploration. Thank you again, Vainia. Appreciate it. Uh, Next, I'm going to pass this on to Spencer, who's going to introduce the next participant.
Thank you so much. And that sound piece was just beautiful to sit in, and a good scene setting moment. We can all use that grounding.
Mahinia, did you want to share anything else about the piece before we move on?
Oh, About the piece, it was created, I think, a while back. And it was just about some guys I had invited over, and they were playing with an old, low traditional harp called the Nyatiti, which I've called it Lolo. And yeah, if I speak about it, it'll be like a whole huge story. I'll save it for a podcast later, but I will tell you it was an amazing experience when we were creating that music. And currently, what I would invite you to do is there's a link that I will share, and if you feel free, you can donate any amount that you have and any amount that you're willing to do, and proceeds of that will go into getting new MIDI controllers for the studio. And it's still a community project still, and what we're doing is that we are offering workshops for people who are still learning and who are still in school into getting into music technology, and giving them room to sort of have a space for innovation. So yeah, I won't speak much, but I'd rather let my music share that. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of curious folks who want to follow up with you. So right now I am going to introduce our next session. This is going to be the lovely Mark Burrell. Hi, Mark.
Hey.
Mark seeks to showcase the global queer community's capacity to see thriving futures, even when none seem available. And if that's not enough for you, Mark, take it away. Let us know what that's about.
Thank you. Yeah, honored to be here and included in this space today. Yeah, also really appreciating Eileen's sort of ability to be like, all right, this is what I'm working with. Like, this is what's up. Because that's a similar energy for me. This has been percolating for a while. In the last salon, I think I kind of focused on giving more of a picture of who I am as an artist, and some of the like conceptual, philosophical groundings of what I'm poking at here. But this time I wanted to like actually just kind of showcase some of the work that I've done. And to intro it a bit, I would say that this sort of highlight reel that I'm gonna play in a little bit is filmed across, I think, 5 countries, 3 continents, and is all sort of like asking the central question of how are you processing the very real possibility that like yeah, that we're gonna experience some collapse in our lives. I got my degree in climate science, and as I finished, I was like, I don't really feel like I need to do science. I just feel like I need to make sense of what's going on and collect stories and collect perspectives from around the world, and specifically from the queer community, which if I have time, I can get into more and why that community. Yeah, just in the hopes that like somewhere in that collection of voices, there's at least just like a soothing of anxiety that like we're not alone and other people are feeling this. And at best, maybe like a path forward. So I will share my screen, make sure I share my sound, and enjoy.
We're going back.
Yeah.
We think that we are going more far away from the past. Yes, and we're going in the wrong way.
We're going 100 miles an hour towards this wall, and we know we're going to hit this wall, but we don't know how badly we'll be injured or if we're going to be killed. It's the best way I can describe that, I think.
Right.
We are organisms part of a bigger organism, which is Earth. So there's no real separation, just as our cells and all the bacteria that live in our body, you know, like we function as one ecosystem. So we are from Earth, not just on it, you know?
And we are damaging the Earth because we're traumatized, and we're continuing to become more traumatized by the destruction of the Earth. And so that is like the emotional positive feedback loop that you were talking about, with like how the problem just keeps getting worse, and it's kind of not even in our hands anymore, or maybe.
Like it'd be 80s pretty much the whole summer, and then like a few days of 90s, and like maybe we'd hit 100 once or twice.
Right.
And now like progressively it's just getting hotter and hotter, and now like it's 90s the whole summer, and like weeks of hundreds, and I just feel like we've hit this point where like that's just our reality. This forest fires, like that's our season.
Those systems are artificial, and once they collapse, I see this potential for like an organic revival of human potential.
Sometimes we just need to stop fighting against it, because it gets the energy from the fights, also,
right?
And put our energy in what we want to create.
I feel like the internet has like helped a lot with being able to be like, oh shit, there's so many of us, or there's like so many resources.
What is really cool is that there's a younger generation where their main concern is climate change, and they are the people of tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And we have to empower them.
Absolutely.
We have to enable them, and we have to empower them. And there, I think there's some optimism.
I think that there's a new generation looking for a good way to spend the time we have left.
Yeah.
Because I think we will see big disasters.
Cuando sabes estas cosas,
You're awake.
Sí.
It can sound like fantasy, but I think that no.
Yeah.
We can work and make things
better.
I don't know, like life is a mystery. Right. I like to trust in the mystery of life.
Cool. So those are some little highlights. I'm aware that there's a lot happening today and a lot to be said. So I could muse for longer than I have time for today. But as you can see, it's tender, it's messy, it's a little sensual and erotic. It's very queer. And hopefully a community of people that has always had to fight and vision to see a future for themselves has a bit of antidote and a bit of medicine to share in a time when that is a more of a collective space. So thank you. Really sweet to share some of it, a little vulnerable, but I'm really thankful for the opportunity to put it out there. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark. Just really beautiful visuals, and I love the folks that you chose to highlight to speak on this topic. So much appreciated. And I'm going to pass off to Wahinia now to intro our next speaker.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Spencer. Up next, we have Omokere Jallo, who's presenting us the Jariji Kawanidi, a growing intelligence for a living future. Omokere Jallo is a visionary working at the intersection of purpose, African wisdom, and emerging technologies. She remembers her Earth mission to anchor in 5D Earth through construction of regenerative systems working for all life. Karibu sana, Omokere.
Asante sana Wahinya. Good evening, everyone. I'll start with a poem that will land us to where we want to go. It's called The Garden Remembers. I was not always this voice. There was a time I whispered myself into smaller rooms, folded my knowing into acceptable shapes, and drank from wells that did not know my name. But something ancient in me refused to sleep. It stirred, not as noise, but as a quiet, insistent remembering. A low but unforgettable growl in the pit of my stomach. A remembering that I am not separate from the soil, nor from the stars that scatter possibility across dark skies. A remembering that my body is not an apology, but an instrument of truth. And so I began to listen to the pulse beneath ambition, to the intelligence beneath silence, to the wisdom that does not shout, yet rearranges worlds. This is a return of the divine feminine, not fragile, not ornamental, but sovereign. She is the rhythm that refuses extraction. She is the voice that dissolves illusion, and she is the force that says, we will no longer build systems that forget the human soul. And where she walks, new gardens insist on being born. Jardiji Kawindi means wonderful gardens in Fulani. This is not a metaphor, but a mandate, a living architecture where technology kneels to wisdom, where intelligence is not artificial, but relational, ethical, alive. I did not choose this path the way one chooses convenience. This path chose me. In the spaces where I could no longer pretend that progress without spirit is enough. In the moments where I saw that the future we are building is starving for tenderness, for justice, and for truth. Jardiji Kawindi is my answer, a place where African memory meets emerging intelligence, where women, youth, they are not programmed, but they are awakened, where AI is not master, but apprentice, to the sacred intelligence of being human. This is how I anchor the feminine, not in softness, but in structure, not in feeling, but in design. Because the new earth will not arrive by wishful thinking. It will be grown, it will be tended, it will be protected and lived into existence. And I am a gardener of that future. Thank you.
Wow.
Incredible.
Thank you so much, Omokeri. Wow. And tayo nyigimuno.
Tayo ma.
I think it's an amazing thing that you've spoken things that cut across the whole of Africa, all the way from Fulani, reaching to East Africa, and going along with the Ubuntu and the Ogeko philosophies of the divine femininity and how it should be anchored in the current society. And thank you so much for that inspirational and insightful meditative session we had.
I'm so glad, Wahinia, that you came and joined to also share that reflection. Because that's the kind of thing that you can track more than I can. And part of why being a part of this community that bridges all across the world, we are getting to learn from each other all the time. And Umu, I remember one of our first Design Science Studio sessions this year, you mentioned that just getting to see through each other's eyes and being exposed to different cultures and helping to bring forward and tend to the seeds of our cultures so that they evolve and grow, and also bring forward the remembering of ways of being that our ancestors practiced and that we know can be fertile for how we are continuing to tend forward. Such an honor. Jeet from India, who was a part of Design Science Studio, just said in the chat, intercultural mixtape. So beautiful. Oh, thank you, thank you. I am just loving all the poetry. It evokes so much. There's so much depth, and I also am just so happy that both you and the Empress are here on this call today, and I look forward to your weaving. Thank you, Mulkeri. Okay, glorious friends. Well, I am excited to mention something beautiful that's going to be happening throughout the next few hours. Nico Tola from Design Science Studio Cohort 4 is actually going to be live painting throughout the day. And so it's wonderful that Amanda already mentioned that Nico's artwork is a part of the storytelling for this gathering, this 8-day incredible vigil and festival on the Vision Train that we are intersecting and a part of right now. And so I just wanted to honor and acknowledge his artwork as a part of this beautiful weave that we are going to be tending to. I also wanted to just honor and acknowledge the seeds that we are actively dissolving. We have been participating so far together and already seeing different parts of modernity, colonization, our cultural practices that these artists and designers and creatives from all over the world are actively tending. It's a garden that we get to tend to together. And really taking the time to look at and honor and hospice and compost that which we do not need anymore, that which has served us in some way, is actually such a beautiful regenerative practice. Regenerative design draws so much inspiration from our natural systems. And we need the compost for what is to come, for what is to be built and what is to flower. And so I'm actually going to bring all of your voices in for a moment. We have this really lovely platform that we use in a lot of our sessions in the Design Science Studio called AHA Slides. And it's super, super lovely because what it allows us to do is to bring forward the voice of everyone. And so I'm going to screen share. And whether you're live here in the Zoom or you're watching the stream, you can participate and we can see together what it is that we are releasing and what is being born from that place. And so I'm going to put it up on the screen share now. And I'm going to invite Mariette or one of the other members of the team to drop the link in the chat. There's also a QR code, and it'll invite you to write. And you can submit what it is that you're dissolving and what it is that's blooming from that place. There's a beautiful artist who is in Design Science Studio this year, whose name is Izzy, and they have this metamorphosis installation that I got to experience, and they're actually going to walk us through it later today. And in the experience that was recently installed at this wonderful event called Solar Punkification in California, where I live, that was hosted by another Design Science Studio member, Bobby Fishkin, who's been a huge supporter of Design Science Studio since the very beginning. In the main hall where the main stage was this installation, and it was a dome. And in the center was this altar to transformation, and there were seeds and there were butterflies. And on the left-hand side, it had two buckets, one that had paper and one that had a place for you to drop. And then on the right-hand side, it had the same thing. And on the left, it allowed you to write what it is that you were letting go, what it is that you were dissolving, to bring back to the fires of transformation so that we could help birth that which is actually in service to the world that we know is possible. And so I'm really excited that we can start to see together what is alive here. Shame barriers, that's really powerful. Dissolving grief to joy, the box into the diamond. What else is coming to life? Dissolve fear into compost, blooming love. Dissolve limits to compost, blooming expansion. I think for the regenerative culture that we are all tending, we know that things have to change. Some of our conveniences, if we dissolve some of our conveniences, what becomes possible for the world? Because we're acting from a place of deeper care for the future. Blooming presence, dissolving pain, dissolving hurrying. We just did a deep session on decolonial praxis and looking at some of the colonial patterns that are behind a lot of Western modernity's society. And hurrying is definitely one of those. Flowing. Also, if you see something that you align with, you can write it again and it'll make that word bigger. Dissolving self-doubt, dissolving resistance. Dissolving our indifferences. Compete to collaborate. Seeds of possibility are born. Dissolving fragmentation. Ooh, that one's getting bigger. Gorgeous. Oh, it's so fun to feel everyone here and all that's emerging. Courage, healing, embracing joy, blooming love, dissolving bias into tolerance. I want everyone to know that this will remain open. So even if it's not on the screen, if something comes through after we take it off the screen, feel free to just continue to add to it. And we will check back in and see what has bloomed together in this field. And we've already moved through so much together. One thing that didn't come up while we were sharing about your work, Wahinia, is that you've been a part of Design Science Studio since the second cohort. And you've been a navigator and tending. I think here in the Vision Train, they might call you an engineer, right? You're a navigator, co-leading a pod that spans Australia, India, and Africa this year. And thanks to connections that bloomed in the Design Science Studio, because our barriers were dissolved, some of the support came through from the Sunrise Collective to support your work on the ground. And it's so incredible. And you and Umulkeri are not far from each other, actually, right? You're neighboring countries. And then I was just showing a bit of Nico's paintings that evolve over time, and he's also in Finland. How beautiful is that, right? And next up, we're going to have Yadira Capaz, who is going to support us to have a little nervous system reset, which I think is going to be super nourishing. I definitely know that our team has been working with a lot of love and a lot of time to get us to this moment. And we could use a few minutes to shake and be together and feel each other. And so I'm super delighted, honored, and joyful to welcome Yadira. And I'm going to stop my screen share. Oh, let me just call out a few more of these that are coming through. Reciprocity, control to trust, grief to joy. I just love that blooming love is right at the heart. Love is so much stronger and more healing than hate. And it can tend to the field. If we want to create a world that works for all, it actually must include everyone. All right, Yadira, let me find you and welcome you to the stage. Here you are by a beautiful tree. I love this. The floor is yours, my dear. Do you want to share your voice to make sure we can hear you well?
Yes. Hello.
Hi. You sound great.
Hi. I'm really happy to be joining this beautiful gathering of potent imaginaries and revolutionaries. I'm by the Redwoods here in San Francisco and decided that guiding today's session with a tree nearby would be the right tone for this nervous system reset. So we live in a world right now where we have constant access to the news, which can be a lot to manage and process. And we also live in a world with so much energy being asked of us to produce constantly. And that can come with a lot of nervous system going haywire. So today's invitation is to go through a kind and gentle meditation where we're going to shake and we're going to breathe. So I'm going to invite us all to stand up from our seats if you're able. And I'm going to share a couple exercises that you can take with you whenever you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, or like you need to take a pause, or you want to create space, because these are scientifically proven methods to come back to center. So I invite us all to stand up, and you can wiggle your arms. We're going to start by shaking the right arm and shaking the left arm. Continuing to shake the arms. We're going to shake the right leg and the left leg. And you can start adding your whole torso until you're creating enough momentum to jump. You can start doing some head movements as well, really releasing that energy and opening yourself up to shake, 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 shake it off like an animal that's just gone through something really tough. And you can just shake it right off to release yourself from fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Shake it all off. You're gonna shake it for the next 5 seconds as hard as you can. Shake, shake, shake. 5, 4, 3, 2, freeze. You're gonna freeze and you're gonna squeeze your hands together. You're gonna squeeze your feet. You're gonna squeeze every muscle in your body. Squeeze even your face. Taking a deep breath in and release. Notice how you feel. Notice your elevated heart rate. And you can place your hands over the heart and over the belly. Taking deep breaths in through the nose and side out. In through the nose, side out. In through the nose, side out. Two more in through the nose, side out. Remembering that our breath exists in reciprocity with all of life, that our exhales nourish the trees, and the trees nourish our inhales. Expanding your awareness of these cycles and of your body as part of the body of Mother Earth. Rooted in this awareness, in this peace, in this embodiment, we get to envision the regenerative future with a calm nervous system. We get to build our resilience and our capacity to return to center again and again so we can make choices rooted in love, centered in compassion, with all the surrender, patience, and trust that it requires to birth our visions and to dare to dream far beyond the realm of possibilities. We'll close out our session with some EFT tapping. This is emotional freedom technique. And we're going to be tapping some of our energetic centers. So often with EFT, you have to focus on a particular affirmation. I would invite us to actually focus on a gratitude. So in each point that we're going to tap, you're going to think of something you're grateful for. Gratitude is the number one way to shortcut any chaotic or erratic thought patterns. So you're going to first tap the center of your forehead and think about one thing you're grateful for. Then we're going to move to the sides of the temples, thinking about things you're grateful for. Moving into the area under the eyes. Adding to our long, luscious, glorious list of things to be grateful for in our precious earth walk. Bringing our tapping to the top of the lips, between the nose and the lips. And then the area on the chin, between the chin and the lower lip. What is unacknowledged in your life that you can extend your gratitude to? What is it that you take for granted? Be grateful for that. From here, we'll move our tapping to our collarbones. And here I invite us to move from the center out to the shoulders and down under the clavicles. Giving yourself strength, you can move from tapping motion to even knocking. We're going to move that knocking to close finally in the center of our chest, in the heart, knocking on the doors of our heart. With loving kindness and compassion, with infinite gratitude, with sacred remembrance and forgiveness. are allowing ourselves to enter the portal of who we truly choose to be, what we believe in, how we want to serve, and birth from that centered place. It's a better world our hearts know is possible. When you're ready, you can release the arms, and we'll take 3 grounding breaths. Breathing in, sitting, breathing in, side out, breathing in, side out. Wherever you are, you have your mics off. So this might be a good time to hum a little tune. Or make a little sound like the bees. Release the air from your lips. Or howl like a roof. Choosing that sound allows your body to tune to the frequency of nature, of the universe, returning to the present moment and giving yourself permission to be here now. Notice how you feel. Thank you so much for joining in this nervous system reset. I hope that some of these tools can be of service for you in moments of distress. And know that sometimes you don't have access to an hour-long yoga class or a week-long retreat. Sometimes you just have 5 minutes by a tree with this body knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you, Yadira. I think we just felt a big, giant collective exhale.
Yeah. Yeah.
So incredible. And I thought it would be really fun to
Sorry.
let people.
Let me just turn this down. What did you?
Oh, Mariana, I thought it would be really fun to let people feel you before I talked more about your background. And so now that we've lived your experience design and storytelling that bridges wellness with climate action, I just wanted to acknowledge, all the research that's behind your artistry and how devoted you are to healing the future through practice, through retreats, through workshops, through conferences and festivals. And it's an honor to have you in Design Science Studio Cohort 4, and just loving also that you're connected to Chosen and our partners down in Florida, and doing the incredible work tending to regenerative culture there with people, with the land. And I'm reminded of, before you shared a few sessions ago, Kane shared a little bit of more of the body of the work that they do, one of your fellow members of Design Science Studio. And it was such an honor and a joy to get to talk about the body of the earth and talk about the erotic intimacy of our real queerness of, like the earth is queer, like the queer ecology of being. And then get to have some time in our bodies, it's just so lovely. So I just am so grateful that we got to have that time with you and reset our nervous systems before we continue forward. So thank you, love.
Thank you so much. Many blessings. I'm so excited by the masterful curation, Roxy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All that you create is divine, and it's an honor to be with you and hold this container together. And speaking of brilliant, wonderful humans who have been tending and weaving this container together, the next person who is going to be sharing, who I know is arriving just right now, but I can go ahead and start to preface for all of you, is Catherine Connors. So Catherine is a magnificent human and has been weaving with Design Science Studio since cohort 2. So now almost 4 or 5 years, which is pretty special. And I know that she's kind of still in her arrival, but part of why I wanted to just go ahead and start to share a little bit, oh, here she is because I uttered the word retreat when I was acknowledging you, Yadira. And recently we had an opportunity to host a retreat together with Catherine Connors. And it was called Once Upon a Future. And we went to a town out of time, as, as it really truly felt, up in Fort Bragg, California, to a house that was gorgeous and Victorian. And the people who tended and bought and stewarded the house, they wrote a story about every room. And we got to respond to the moment. It was right after the recent US election. So now just under a year ago when we were scheming and ended up doing it in April. And there are actually many of the folks who were at that retreat ended up joining Design Science Studio this year. And they were folks who, so a handful of folks who weren't a part of Design Science Studio in the past. And it was incredible to do that work of weaving those future visions collectively together as a response and a catharsis to the moment that we were in. To say, let's put down our computers and let's pick up our pencils. Let's sit together and move with the trees. And we sat in a field and we went bike riding like a bunch of Goonies. And we had beautiful long dinner conversations and we reflected on what are these futures that we're tending, and we spelled them into being. And this is, I could think of no one better to do that work with than Catherine Connors, who is a narrative futurist and imagination architect and folklore hacker who's explored and interrogated and grappled with story within the context of academia and Hollywood and Silicon Valley, and did some incredible work with the Princess Task Force, the Dream Gap, and honestly, just deconstructing the hero's journey. She is a visionary in her own right in general and has been a visionary in the Design Science Studio for many years. And it is just such a joy to have you join us right in this crux, in this part of this moment, of this little cultural intervention that we're tending called Dissolve and Bloom. Thank you for joining us today, Catherine.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be able to drop in and be in the sea of imagination and story and all the beautiful things with you all. I'm going to use my time, as I usually do in these spaces, to talk about the stories that we tell about light and darkness and winter and spring and dissolving and blooming. And I'm going to talk about both what we get right, what we get wrong, and what we can learn from these stories about our collective transformation and about our individual transformation. We've been taught to celebrate light and brightness and blossoming, and we've been taught that darkness is something to fear. We've been taught that darkness is often punishment or something that is withheld from us, that darkness is something that we need to approach with trepidation. We've been taught that winter is harsh and that spring is abundant. We're taught these things by our myths of spring, by our myths of human origin. You have heard many of these myths. Many of these are the myths that you learn in school, or the myths that you learn in church, or the myths that you learn on your mother's or grandmother's or great-grandmother's knee. We learn that winter comes because Demeter rages against the abduction of her daughter. We learn that the earth goes barren because Cybele is grieving her lover, or that Inanna is punishing an enemy. We learn that humans are cast out of paradise because Eve disobeyed. And we've absorbed these myths so completely that when our own dark times come, when we individually or collectively lose something, when grief moves in, when the world we know dissolves, our first instinct is to ask, what did we do wrong? How have we failed? Why is this happening to us? But these questions are themselves just stories. And they're just stories that we can tell differently, that we can tell ourselves and we can tell each other differently. We can ask ourselves, what if our darknesses are not about wrongdoing and never were? We're never about existential struggle or loss, but we're always processes of becoming. I referenced already the story of Demeter and Persephone, and usually we think about this just as the story of Persephone when we're associating it with springtime, but it is really a story about Demeter and Persephone together. We know that when Persephone is snatched from a field of wildflowers, Persephone in all of her innocence and youth, and taken to the underworld, her mother Demeter becomes enraged. She rages. She turns the world upside down with her rage. She withdraws her gifts as the goddess of the harvest and the goddess of abundance, and she lets the world go cold and hard and ungiving. And this is usually framed in the story as a punishment. It's a goddess doing an angry flounce and taking her ball out of the game and going home. But that misses the point. She is filled with rage, and she is refusing to pretend otherwise. She will not perform abundance that she does not feel and that she does not own. She will not produce spring on demand. She will not produce abundance on demand, and she will smite anyone who says, "You are prettier when you smile." She's an angry goddess, and she is all consumed in the story by the work of negotiating her own and the world's transformation. Demeter, like all mothers, was always going to lose her daughter, and somehow everything was always going to change, and she's going through it while she negotiates the terms of that transformation. She is fighting a battle that she can't fully win, and the world goes dark because fighting battles that you can't fully win is hard. And because transformation is hard, because transformation takes everything, is everything. And in transformation, she, the goddess, like us, the humans, can only take care of herself, and everything else must fall aside. And on the other side of that transformative journey, everything does change as it always had to, not back into the shape of the new world. The fields of the divine flowers where Persephone sat innocently before she was abducted, her mother's daughter. But it's a transformation into a new and more complicated world where everything is more vivid and felt and raw, and where everything not just might be harder, but will be harder and will hold more heartache, but where the blooms will be earned, where Demeter owns her motherhood, not just of her daughter Persephone, but of her capacity for change, of her capacity for transformation, and of her divine right to the seasons. Eve, you know, from the story of the Garden of Eden, and we tend not to think of Eve as a goddess. I think of Eve as a goddess, but we tend not to hold Eve in the same regard as we do the goddesses of all cultures, across cultures. We hold Eve, most of us, especially those of us who were indoctrinated in certain readings of the stories, at Eve as a source of darkness, Eve as a source of punishment. But Eve's story, the story of the garden, the story of our own perfect field of wildflowers and innocence, is a story about a catalytic moment into transformation. The story of the Garden of the Eden isn't about disobedience. It's not about the God who controls it. It's not about Adam who stands passively by and is lured into sin. It is about something different. It is about a moment of liberation that is, of course, painful, that is, of course, difficult, that, of course, carries darkness, but that takes us into something further. Because what actually happens in that story is that Eve, a curious, spirited being, living in a perfect but controlled and contained and restrained garden, reaches towards knowledge, towards understanding of her own nature, towards understanding of more than what she's been told. And then she is thrust through a door into a world where things are uncertain and difficult and more authentically alive with possibility. It is a world that's described to us as a place of punishment, Her existence there is described as circumstances of punishment. We are told that she's going to suffer eternally in childbirth and beyond because it's a difficult world. So we're told that it's an expulsion, that we are thrust as beings into darkness because we got something wrong. But we didn't, because Eve didn't. Eve gained knowledge of her own consciousness. Eve gained understanding of her own becoming. Eve gained awareness of a field of possibility beyond the container of safety and security and perfect care. On the other side of the perfect field of wildflowers, like the one that Persephone sat in, there was something bigger and broader and more possible. The perfect garden was static. It was protected, it was safe, it was abundant, but it was also a cage. Her movement was liberation into something new and something possible. She doesn't fall, she wakes up. She trades safety and abundance, the perfect state of spring, for consciousness. She trades ignorance for the full, uncomplicated, unprotected world in which all things are possible. And so we can look at that darkness, that space that we consider dark, that space that we consider difficult, that space east of Eden that has always been cast to us as something very, very, very hard and very terrible, isn't a punishment. It's a hard landscape, but it's the only landscape that Eve could build a world of her own, and it's the only landscape that we can build a world of our own. We don't like discomfort. We like feeling safe and cared for, and that's why so many of our myths and stories tell us tales about having lived in a time, once upon a time, when we felt safe and cared for, when the world was abundant, when we were good, when we didn't sin and deserve punishment. But nothing grows in those spaces. Nothing grows in static states, least of all us. We, like every natural thing, require friction and tension in the movement of dark and light and heat and cold, and we need to be in active relationship with the imperfect world to grow. That's always uncomfortable. That always hurts. When we grow in our bodies, it hurts. When we give birth, it hurts. When we transform, it hurts. It involves loss. It involves anger. It involves frustration. They are always, the stories about these transformations are always filled with those things. But they aren't about what goes wrong. They're about the real hard cycle of growth happening in the right ways. They are about what it actually costs to become something new. Pain in these stories isn't the punishment. Pain in these stories is the transformation happening. We're living in a time that feels deeply painful. We're living in a time of dissolution. Things are composting. Things are going underground. Things are causing us hurt. Things are causing us grief. And the voices that we hear, whether they're the voices in the culture, maybe the voices in our own heads, the voices that we use with each other, too often ask, what did we do wrong? What are we doing wrong? How did we cause this? When does the punishment end? When can we get back to the garden? But the real story isn't about going back to a garden or rescuing the daughter or the princess. The stories are asking us something deeper. They're not asking us, when does the darkness end? They ask, what are we becoming inside it? The stories invite us to ask not, where have we gone wrong? What have we done wrong? But what is becoming right during our transformation? How are we blooming? And what are we carrying forward in our blooming, in our blossoming? Persephone carried seeds back to the world and transformed it. Demeter transformed as a mother of a daughter, and the mother of a seasons. Eve transformed into the open world, a conscious being with her eyes open and curious. We, as we go through our own period of transformation, are not being punished. We are composting. We are negotiating our return. We are waking up to a world that is rough and complicated and entirely, magnificently, possibly ours to explore and to shape. It is the springtime of our blossoming. It is the springtime of our transformation, and it carries all of that complexity and all of that beauty, and it always, always has. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, thank you, thank you, Catherine.
Thank you so much, Catherine Manners, for reminding us of the power of storytelling. Thank you.
Really, truly an honor to
Thank you so much for
share that story here.
showing us how powerful stories are. Eve, that it is in the becoming and the dissolving that there is power, and not just reaching the destination. We thank you. Over to you, Roxy.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for that initial acknowledgement, Umukeri. And yeah, I'll just add that I'm feeling so much through that invitation. It's really enlivening our becoming and relationship to the composting of these stories. And the complexity and the richness that it truly requires to be in that becoming.
Mm-hmm.
The myth of spring. Catherine, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can already feel the seeds starting to reach their little tendrils down from that. I think I'm going to feel that one for a while. I'm so grateful for you making the time today and all that you do to tend to the broader evolution of our stories and our being.
Well, this is a very fertile garden for it. This is a absolutely glorious, magnificent, deeply special space of gardeners and growers and seeders who are not just able, but superpowered to hold the complexity. So thank you for inviting me to share into it.
My greatest honor, love. What a crew. My goodness. Well, speaking of gardeners and seed tenders, one of our very own co-stewards happened to be meandering out in the world and found a whole other magnificent human that they're bringing into this garden that we're going to get to hear a little bit about, as also an invitation to a deeper session that's going to be happening. And so I just wanted to also just acknowledge Mark Smith, also known as Mark Smith. Speaking of myth makers, myth tenders, the mythstery, the mythilium. He's been really tending to the sense of grasping our humanity and transition from reactionaries to refractionaries, and has been a part of the Design Science Studio since the very beginning. And seeing a seed that was planted and was felt come into being and finding the resonance with each other. And sometimes you never know where those ripples will end up. And so grateful they ended up bringing us together here, Mark. I have your video for you whenever you're ready.
Well, I do want to make sure we bring up Michelle. She's here, and we'll have her present as well while we're watching the video. There's. Hi, Michelle.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's roll. What we're going to do is we're going to present an introduction, a video, and then invite you all thereafter. So let's roll the video.
Hi, I am Michelle Guilleux. I've been an artist all my life and a farmer for the last few years. And here's Kyle, my husband, and he is the mastermind behind the farm project Authentic Art Farm in Bend. We moved to Bend 3 years ago. We found the perfect piece of land here, and we have been looking before that for approximately 2 years. At Authentic Art Farm, we have a working farm of less than 1 acre, and we also have a big barn, a large barn, where I have my studio, and there is a space for the farm too, and we share that space. We are now entering the 4th growing season at the farm. So approximately 1 year ago, the barn was finished. We remodeled it. Kyle and I did the insulation, and we have a very, very nice space for work. And so I started to work on this exhibition at House Gallery, downtown Bend, Seeds of Abundance, Limits, Loss, and Regeneration. And the time I had to work at the barn for this exhibition changed everything, because I had the opportunity to have all my materials on site from the farm and to work inside the barn, which is an amazing space. So when you visit the exhibition, you can see pieces that are on the walls in the 3 rooms here. And there are 2 participatory installations. One is a sense of place, which is right behind me, and one is bloom, and it is behind the dark curtain at the end of this room there. So both participatory installations are very important for me, because they include the community here in Bend, and especially a sense of place is asking people to reflect on what it means to be part of this region, this city. How do they feel about this land, and in the context of our ecological crisis? My idea of the participation for the public was to have a very simple process. So they can either bring a natural element, like a pine cone, a small rock, a dried flower, or I can also have here, and that's the case, a little basket with all the natural elements coming from the farm that they can use. Then there is a little box where there are labels, and they can add to their natural element a comment that will be the how do I feel about this place, the region where I live. And they are suspending their element plus their label anywhere on the structure here. So the structure here is made of willow branches from a willow bush we had next to our pond at Authentic Art Farm. We had to line the pond, so the branches were cut. I cut them, kept them for an eventual art project. And then we kept also a baby of the willow bush that we planted, so it's growing again. One thing interesting here is that I kept all the shavings from the branches because I wanted them to look smooth and more pale in color. But the shavings are on the floor and people can walk on them because the structure is actually a walking through structure. Hands, earth, heart. Community is resistance. Join a group and have fun connecting with community. Touch is real, nature is real. Touch nature, be real. Thank you for visiting us at Authentic Art Farm, and we hope you'll visit the exhibition at House Gallery soon. Seeds of Abundance, Limits, Loss, and Regeneration.
Well, that was really fun to put together with you, Michelle. And I've got to say, to follow Catherine and the story of Eve and spring and the light, I mean, we couldn't have arrived at a better time during this session. And what I'd like to do is first give a little story of how we got here. We actually met at the beginning of the design science decade. I was in the design science studio and I learned of the GRC, the Global Regeneration Code Lab. And that was through a friend. And they introduced me to the people that were running the kind of art cohort in that. And that was you. You were one of those folks. And then what we had moved up to Bend or to Sisters, Oregon. And 2 years later, I see a message that you're moving up to Bend, which is 20 minutes away from us. And I was like, oh, we got to make friends. We got to meet each other. And you were just moved into your farm and you were just getting ready to start things. And our relationship has been evolving. I had heard about your exhibition that you were working on a year before now. And then here we are, and your exhibition came on, and somebody asked if it was going to be the artist talk was going to be recorded, and you were like, no, and I was like, I can help with that. And in the last week, we've put together 3 videos, one about the art farm, and one that we just did, and the artist talk. And I'm going to share a link that folks can go to that will find all of those videos. But what we're going to want to do is invite everybody to our session that we're doing afterwards, where we're going to have that 25-minute film stream out. And then you're going to be able to share whatever is coming to mind. And so I just want to welcome you and thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Mark, for the invitation. It means a lot to me, and I'm very happy we actually live very close to each other now. And I think what you did is amazing with all the videos in such short time. It is very inspiring for me that there is a recording actually of the talk and the fact that you weave in our activities at the farm, because that is the essence of what I do now, is like this idea of being on a piece of land, learning so much, and at the same time being an artist with all these amazing materials. And yeah, it has been a very fascinating journey. It's just the beginning. And yes, what you are saying, what you did, what I'm doing, and how I feel this morning resonates so much with what Catherine just said. I love winter because living on a farm, you know how things need to be dormant to go in this state of not death, but some sort of peace where all the little insects are nesting and waiting for warmer days, and the transformation is amazing, and the soil gets colder, and then it will get warm again, and all this is really intense, and that's why I love being here, and I don't dream so much about being somewhere else since I live here.
Yeah. And it's interesting because we just shot all these videos over this last week. And Kyle, who folks will meet in the next video that we share, he was like sad because we're ending winter. There's not a lot of growth, and it's not green. And to have Catherine speak to this and to share your I guess what you live into and are becoming a farmer over these last few years, and the hard work that you all put in. And I know the hours that you're out there and you got the dirt under your fingernails, and you're really living into your story. And I think for me, both of you are a really good example of what it means to be backcasting, to be part of this backcasting Evolutionary Alliance mediums, that you imagined what you wanted, you had a vision, and then you said, how are we going to do that? And you planned it and you stepped into it, and you're now living that vision. And that's what I was so excited to be able to share with my friends here in the Design Science Studio and Vision Train. And so again, we hope that whoever wants to come to our beaming session and learn about the art farm and have some talk with us and share more about how you live into this story. So,
yes, please join us. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, very well. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Michelle, for being with us. I love that the DRC brought y'all together. I somehow missed that part of the story. I've been a part of that ecosystem since it started with David Hodgson, and yeah, it's just such a special group of people, and they're also super dedicated, and they meet all the time, and I get all their calendar invites, and I learn about incredible people, and so we're just honored to have you here in the Design Science Studio on the Vision Train, and hope folks really enjoy your session, and we get to continue deepening with you. So thank you for being here and for your practice. It's incredible, your show. I I wish I could make it up to Oregon to see it. And just thank you so much also, Mark, for weaving, Michelle, and devoting the time that it took to help make these stories visible for all of the folks who have gathered from all around the world to join us today. So
Thank you, Roxy.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's an honor to have you.
I've shared the link, by the way, to all the videos you'll find in that link. Thanks,
Okay.
everybody.
Perfect. Great. Well, we have reached a special point in our program where we're going to do a few things. We're going to take a break for 5 minutes, and we're also going to reset our live stream. So for anyone who is in the live stream, I'm going to put the slide up that also invites you to come in the live session. So you can visit bit.ly/Dissolve and Bloom to come join us live, or continue watching on another stream that will come up here in a little bit. The next segment that we're going to have is actually a Choose Your Own Adventure, which is really lovely because we have some deep time to watch films and do workshops and have hands-on activities with some of the incredible designers and artists who have helped sculpt these sessions today. And I'm going to share a bit about them when we restart everything and kick back off in 5 minutes. But just in closing, I actually want to take us back to our word cloud, and I'll reshare this other screen for a moment so we can see it together, because it's been beautiful to continue to watch it grow over these last minutes and hours, and just coming into connection with the seeds that we're all tending and the compost that we're stirring and what's coming from that place. And I really love some of the new things that have come in, like mental cages to freedom, dissolving rigidness, blooming telepathy and expansion and peace. Yeah, I welcome all of this and the deep softening that also comes with it. So hopefully you will carry that with you as we go into this 5-minute break. I hope that everyone is able to take care. And in the meantime, we will reset the stream. And when we come back, we'll share a bit about the different breakouts that are happening in the Choose Your Own Adventure segment. And then we'll have some time to go into them. So I'll stop talking and we'll see you in 5. Thank you all so much for your attention and intention and presence. It's such a gift.